A very good day, Professor Dr. Azliza. I'm Monica from Group 8, and with me, five of us will be Tiffany N, Karo Azim, myself, Monica, Leo Chiachi, and Theo Hui Ying. We will presenting to you anticipating future financial performance through predictive analytics and strategy foresight for Seedburst Co. In this modern era, we could see that all the beverage industries has undergone through a significant transformations due to the changes in the consumer lifestyles, increasing in the health awareness as well, especially in the younger generation who are the shifting away from the higher sugar carbonated drinks towards more natural juices products. As a good response from the demand, Seedburst Co. has emerged as a mid-sized fruit juice company with a strong mission to promote a diabetes-free generations while building a sustainable business as well. As in a company overview, we could see that Seedburst Co. is a mid-sized fruit juice company that focuses on producing natural and healthy beverages. The company emphasizes quality and affordability to supply its product to cafes, local supermarkets, and convenience stores. Seaburst operates in two both retails B2B, which is business to business segment, with the retail sales being the major contributor to the revenue. This dual market approach allows the company to reach wider customer space, maintaining the stable demand as well. We could see that performance overview over the past year, 5 years, we could see that Seedburst Co. has demonstrated a steady revenue growth, increasing from 8.9 million to 16.9 million in this 5 years journey. This growth reflects strong market capture and increasing brand trust among the consumer. However, despite revenue growth, the company faces challenges in profitability. Net profit peaked in year 4 but declined significantly in year 5 due to rising operating expenses, higher production costs, and fluctuations in raw materials. Although Seabus has no outstanding loans and declining liability, which reduced the financial risks. However, this also limited its ability to invest in digital platform, research and development, which is R&D, which is a critical for long terms of competitiveness. As a vision and mission, Seedburst is established for the vision side. Seedburst Visions will be established itself as a leading and trusted brand known for natural and healthy fruit juices product that promote diabetes-free generation. To achieve this vision, the company has three key main missions, which is first to supply high quality natural fruits juices to meet consumer health needs. Second, to leverage the data-driven insight to improve financial performance and decision making. Last but not least, to achieve sustainability of growth by focusing on cost efficiency and operational excellence.
In this chapter, we will discuss about the financial forecast. In this slide, you can see there are two types of data, which is the first one is the revenue and the second one is the net profit of the SIP Burst company for the past 5 years. For the revenue data, you can see an increasing trend. It started with 8.92 million in year 1, followed by 13.61 million in year 2, followed by 13.73 in year 3, and then in year 4, 13.94 million, and achievement spike in year 5 with 16.92 million. Meanwhile, for the net profit figures, they show some of the fluctuation. It started with 0.95 million in year 1, followed by 0.27 million in year 2, and then a spike with a 3.76 million in year 3, and then an increment to the 4.10 million in year 4, and then a downtrend of 2.25 million in year 5. Now, let's focus to the forecasted value for the SIP Bus company. Just now I mentioned that about the 5 years data of the revenue and the net profit of this company. Now, let's focus on the forecasted year starting from year 6 until year 8 of the revenue and net profit. Based on the estimation, it is forecasted that for the revenue in year 6, it will achieve 18.32 million, followed by 19.95 million in year 7 and 21.58 million in year 8. Meanwhile, for net profit, although just now I mentioned that there are some fluctuation in terms of their net profit for the first 5 years, however, upon forecasted value, it shows that some increasing trend, starting from in year 6 with 4.20 million, followed by 4.85 in year 7, and the last one in the 8th year with 5.49 million. Next, you must be wondering where this figure derived from. So technically, the forecasted value for S&P Burst Company's revenue and net profit from the year 6 to year 8 was through a simple linear regression analysis. We ran two times. The first one is revenue against the year, and the second one is a net profit against the year. After we ran the first model, which is for the revenue against the year, it is found that the revenue model is technically 8,530,529.40 plus with 1,631,615.00 times by year. From this model, it shows that every 1 unit increase in the year, the revenue will increase by 1.6 million while the constant remains. The standardized beta coefficient shows 0.900, which means that as the year progresses, the revenue will increase in a very predictable and nearly linear fashion. Meanwhile, for the net profit, the model shows that net profit is equivalent to 336,154 plus by 644,288 times by year, which means that every 1 unit increase in the year, the net profit will increase by 644,288 ringgit while the constant remains. The standardized beta coefficient shows 0.605, which indicates a positive trend between net profit over time. For the revenue, whether that model is valid or not valid, so technically you can see that the significant value is less than 0.05. So, meaning to say that this model is valid. However, for the net profit, the value is above 0.05. So, would this model considered is not valid? Yes, it's considered as not valid. However, this one is we just want to focus on the prediction. So technically, we consider that this model is considered as fit. Just now, we discussed about the net profit and the revenue for the SIP Bus company. Now, let's focus on the marketing expenses and HR expenses and what are the effects toward the net profit of the company. For the marketing expenses, it shows that SIP Bus Company has spent about 0.99 million in year 1, followed by 0.55 in year 2, 1.82 million in year 3, then 1.36 in year 4, and last one is 1.63 million in year 5. Meanwhile, for HR expenses, SIP Bus Company spent about 1.08 million in year 1, followed by 0.62 in year 2, 1.09 million in year 3, 0.93 million in year 4, and 2.33 million in year 5. Now, let's combine this data together. We combine the net profit plus with revenue against the marketing expenses and the HR expenses. We already take note that SIP Bus Company's revenue increased every year for 5 consecutive years, with ending with a strong 21% jump of 6.92 million in year 5. In year 3, SIP Bus Company prioritized its marketing over HR expenses, which led to a bigger success where that it achieved a massive expansion of 1,271% for consecutive 5 years. This is the period where we call as the growth engine success. Meanwhile, the efficiency drain year, the profit collapsed by 45% in the final year because of SIP Bus Company spent too much on HR expenses up to 151%, which was significantly higher than sales growth. From this analysis, it is found that SIP Bus Company should spend on more towards the marketing expense rather than HR expenses because a higher campaign will lead to a higher sales. However, is it wrong for us to spend on the HR expenses? No, it is not. However, we need to spend accordingly. So meaning to say that the HR expenses need to be lower than a marketing expenses.
To a better understand of Seabird-Co's external business environment, a pestle analysis is conducted. These frameworks examines political, economic, social, technology, environmental, and legal factors that influence business performance and sustainability. From a political perspective, government stabilities and policies plays a significant role in Seaper's course operations. Changes in food safety regulations and political leadership that may impact compliance and regulations. In addition, limited access of government subsidies for SMEs increase production costs as well. The lack of workforce development support and rising minimum wages for regulations further contribute a higher labor expenses affecting the overall efficiency. Secondly, we can see that economic factors where interest rate, inflations, and employee levels directly affect CPIR's profitability. High interest rate making borrowing costs very high, limiting expansions and investing in advanced equipment. Inflation has increased operational costs and for raw materials, packaging, utilities, and while also reducing consumer purchasing power. Further, a tight labor market raises a wages level, increasing production costs and impacting the demand for non-essential beverages. As we can see for the social factors such as age distribution, lifestyle changes, and cultural preference strongly influence consumer behavior. An aging population prefers low sugar and low calorie beverages, while younger consumers often seek a flavored or energy boosting drinks. Additionally, cultural taste preference vary across ethnic groups, requires burst to customize flavor to avoid limited market reach. On the technology factors, we can highlight that CPEST Limited invest in the innovations and R&D, which as an SME, the company has minimal exposure to the technology grants, reducing its ability to adopt automations and advanced productions processes. In rapidly evolving beverages industry, continuous innovation, such as offering sugar-free or functional juices options, is very essential to remain competitive. Seaburst lack of R&D activity over the past 5 years put the company as an disadvantages. In the environment factor, we can see that climate change, extreme weather conditions directly affect fruit supply and quality. Seasonal change can disrupt the raw material availability, leading a higher procurement cost and production instability. Additionally, increasing environmental regulations and sustainability expectations require shippers to manage waste efficiency and reduce carbon emission, which further increase the operational costs. Last but not least, legal compliance, which under the legal factors critical for seat-burst operations, employment laws, including minimum wage requirement, and employee benefit increase the labor cost. Consumer protections and health regulation require strict compliance with safety with the food. Labeling and quality standards failure to meet these legal requirements may result as a penalty, reputation damage, and loss in consumer trust. As a conclusion for the PESO, VBC First Co has a strong revenue growth brand acceptance in the health conscious market. However, rising a cost limited digital presence and lack of R&D investment pose a challenge for long-term sustainability.
Good day, Professor. Today I will be talking about the value chain analysis of Simbers. This is basically about how the company's internal activities affect cost, efficiency, and long term competitiveness. Starting with the inbound logistic, Simbers has some weakness here. Fruit prices go up a lot because of the seasonal shortages and inflation like in year 5 when the cost of goods sold jumped to 6.4 million. The company heavily relies on the local suppliers and doesn't have a long-term contract or price protection. These make costs unpredictable. On top of that, limited supplier and weak inventory systems mean there is more risk of spoilage and inefficient stock turnover. Next is operation. A lot of production is still manual juice processing, packaging, quality check, all done by the people instead of the automated system. As the production grew, instead of gaining efficiency, the company had to hire a lot of more staff. HR costs shot up to 151% in year 5. Without the automation or process improvement, efficiency is very limited and profitability takes a hit. For outbound logistics, Simbers does well with their traditional distribution to supermarkets and B2B clients, but the shipping costs are high and unstable in year 5. They also rely on third party distributors and paid shelf space instead of selling directly to consumers. The lack of e-commerce or direct delivery make the distribution less flexible and reduce margins. Looking at the marketing and sales, marketing helps sales grow from 8.9 million to 16.9 million. But all of this is traditional marketing method. There have been no online sales for over 5 years. These make it hard to reach the younger generation, tech savvy consumers like Gen Z and millennials. The lack of the digital marketing and e-commerce limits customer engagement and overall market reach. Finally, services. The same bus focuses on B2B client, ensuring the products are available, quality issues are handled quickly, and credit is managed well. But because there is a little direct contact with end consumers, it's harder to get feedback, monitor satisfaction, or build long-term brand loyalty. No digital service platform make this even more challenging. In short, Simbas is strong in revenue growth and traditional distribution, but weakness is in inbound logistic, operational marketing. All of these limits is the long-term competitiveness. Now, let's talk about Simba's support activities under value chain analytics and where it faced challenges. First, infrastructure. The company is financially very cautious. It has low debt and no loans, which keeps it stable. But this also means it doesn't invest much in growth or creating new products or technology or working in R&D. So while it's safe now, this approach limits the long-term growth and innovation. Next, human resource management. HR is a big cost for the company. In year 5, we saw that HR expenses went up a lot, which affected the profitability. Due to the limited training, weak performance tracking, and poor incentive make staff less effective. These mean the company isn't getting most of out of its workforce. Then we have a technology development. Simbus hasn't invested in modern production technology or digital tools over the last 5 years. These make it harder to innovate, improve efficiency, or plan for demand and cost. Without the technology, the company struggles to keep up with the changes and manage operation effectively time to time. Finally, it's procurement. The company is sourcing the raw material and packaging. It is not well planned. There are long-term contracts, there are no long-term contracts, and few supply options. This makes costs unpredictable, especially when fruit prices go up and the company often has to pay more. This reduces control over internal causes. In short, Simbers has a strong and stable financial structure, but in weakness, Weaknesses in HR, technology, procurement limit its efficiency, innovation, and future growth. In this slide, I will be presenting about the SWOT analysis of Simbus. To begin with, Simbus' strength lies in its strong financial and market position. The company has zero debt and 2.5 million in cash, giving it the freedom to invest in the growth without the financial pressure. Its revenue has almost doubled, which clearly shows strong demand for its natural juices products in the market. With established distribution through the supermarkets and cafes, Simbus can introduce new products efficiently. At the same time, its reputation as a trusted natural juices brand gives it a strong advantage in today's health conscious market. However, these trends are balanced by important weaknesses. Timber still depends heavily on manual labor, which raises costs and limits production capacity, especially during the peak season and long holidays. The company has also not invested any digital platforms or product development over the years, reducing its ability to innovate and respond to the changing consumer trends. In addition, unstable raw materials due to weak supply agreement make profit planning very difficult. Looking ahead, there are several clear opportunities for growth. Digital channels allow Simbas to sell directly to younger consumer, reduce reliance on the retailers, and it can improve the margins. Expanding into the low sugar and the good quality health ingredients beverages can strengthen the brand's premium positioning. Government Industry 4.0 grants further create opportunities to automate the production and also to improve the efficiency. At the same time, Simbas must manage several threats, which is climate change, inflation threaten, raw material and pricing increase, while the digital first cloud brands increase its competitive pressure. With all these tools, environmental risks such as the flood or crop disease can also disrupt the production, affect the product quality. In conclusion, Simba's core has a strong foundation, but its future success depends on how effectively it transforms digitally, improve efficiency, and innovate to stay competitive in the market. Thank you.
Good day, Professor. Today I will be presenting on how SIP Burst Corporation can anticipate its future financial performance through the use of predictive analytic and strategy foresight. In today's business environment, companies face increasingly uncertainty from factors such as digital disruption, changing consumer preferences, cost volatility, and climate-related risks. Relying only on historical financial data is no longer sufficient for long-term planning. Therefore, this study focuses on combining data-driven insight with scenario planning to help this company prepare for different possible future, rather than predicting only a single outcome. The objective is to understand multiple possible future and their financial implication. The time horizon of this analysis extends towards the year 2040, allowing SIP Burst to think strategically about long-term sustainability, competitiveness, and financial resilience. The main purpose of scenario planning is to explore multiple credible future scenarios instead of relying on only one fixed forecast. Business conditions are influenced by many uncertain factors, such as the pace of digital transformation, regulatory changes, climate variability affecting raw material, and the shift in consumer preference towards healthier products. Scenario planning support long-term strategy decision making under uncertainty. It helps management evaluate how different strategy may perform under different future conditions, rather than reacting only after changes occur. For SIP Burst, implementing scenario planning aims to ensure the company remain financially stable, competitive, and adaptable in a rapidly changing market. It enables proactive planning instead of reactive decision making. We will talk about baseline scenario, optimistic scenario, and pessimistic scenario in the next slide. This analysis applies scenario planning with a long-term perspective towards the year 2040. The goal is not to predict exactly what will happen in 2040, but to prepare SIP birds for a range of possible future. This long-term horizon allow the company to anticipate structural changes such as technological advancement, cost pressure, and evolving customer behavior. Three scenarios were developed to capture different strategic outcomes. First, a baseline scenario. Secondly, an optimistic digital growth scenario. Lastly, a pessimistic rising cost scenario. Together, these scenarios help SIPers assess potential risks and opportunity and evaluate how current decisions may influence future financial performance. Firstly, we will talk about the baseline scenario. This represents a continuation of current trend without major strategy transformation. In this scenario, SIP Burst experiences gradual sales growth aligned with historical performance. However, profit margins are increasingly pressured by rising human resources costs and higher promotional spending. Automation remain limited, and analytical are mainly used for basic functions such as inventory management and demand forecasting. There is no significant investment in advanced predictive analytics for AI. In terms of distribution, traditional retail and B2B channel continue to dominate, while digital channel plays only a supporting role. Overall, this scenario reflects a stable but conservative future, where the company mainly focus in maintain operations but does not significantly strengthen in competitive position. Next is the optimistic scenario reflects a future where SIPers successfully embrace digital transformations and innovation. In this scenario, the company adopts AI-driven forecasting and automates production, leading to higher operational efficiency and better cost control. SIP Burst expand its product portfolio to include healthier, organic, and functional beverage, responding to growing consumer demand for well-oriented products. Strong digital channel, including direct-to-consumer platform, subscriptions, and product customization, become the key growth driven. In addition, strategic partner with suppliers help reduce the cost volatility. By 2040, SIP Burst achieved higher profit margin, strong liquidity, and resilient long-term growth, positioning itself as a competitive and future-ready organization. Lastly, is the pessimistic scenario. This pessimistic scenario highlights the risk of delayed transformations and weak strategy response. In the future, SIP bursts experience slow digital adoption and limited operational upgrades. Climate changes increase raw material costs while fixed HR and marketing expenses continues to rise without corresponding revenue growth. Competitors move faster by adopting automation, analytical, and innovation product offerings, especially healthier beverage alternative. As a result, SIB burst market relevance decline, market share is lost, and the company struggle to remain competitive. While operations may remain stable in certain regions, overall financial performance and long-term liability are significantly weakened. This scenario emphasizes that the inactions itself can become a major strategy risk. To manage uncertainty effectively, this study also emphasizes the importance of a signpost, which also known as early indicators. Signposts are forward-looking signals that help organizations detect potential risks and opportunity before they fully impact the financial performance of the company. They convert uncertainty into manageable insight. By monitoring signposts, SIP bursts can trigger proactive strategy responses such as accelerating the digital investment or adjusting supply strategy. Continuous scanning of this indicator also enhance organizational agility, enabling the company to respond dynamically rather than reactively. Ultimately, signposts support better risk management and more informed strategy decision making. Now, let's talk about the key categories of signposts for SIP bursts. Several key categories of signposts are practically relevant for SIP bursts. From a supplier and cost perspective, climate driven fruit price volatility and supplier delay may signal the needs for price locking strategy, supplier diversification, or buffer stocks. Where, from an internal and competitive perspective, rising HR and marketing costs that grow faster than revenue, or competitors adopting automations and analytics earlier, signal the needs for cost control and faster digital transformation. From a markets and customer perspective, increasing demand for organic and functional beverage and rapid growth in online sales indicate the needs to accelerate digital investment and strengthen direct to customer capability of SIP bursts, where monitoring these signposts allow SIP bursts to act early and maintain long-term financial resilience. Thank you. This is all for my part.
Good day, Professor. On this slide, I will explain what wildcards are and why they matter for SIP bursts. Wildcards are events that are unlikely, but when they happen, they have a very big impact. They can destroy even well-prepared strategy. Because they are difficult to predict accurately, the goal is not to forecast them, but to be ready for them. For SIP bursts, wildcard can come from several areas. The first one is environmental wildcard, include climate events or crop diseases that reduce food supplies, leading to higher costs, longer production lead times, and also the pressure on cash flow. Then will be the regulatory wildcard, include sudden changes in packaging rules, sugar taxes, or import duties, which may force quickly changes to products or sourcing. Next is the market wildcard, happen when consumers move away from fruit juice or shift to alternatives like functional or probiotic drinks. After that, technology wildcard include rapid advance in automation or AI that quickly change industry costs. Lastly, the economy wildcard such as wages increases or economic downturns can reduce demand while costs remain high. Now we will talk about how SIP bus can prepare for this wildcard. Since wildcard cannot be predicted, preparation is key. One important step is diversified sourcing, meaning raw materials are sourced from multiple regions instead of relying on just one supplier. Strong supplier relationships also help the company respond faster during disruption. SIP bus also should use the flexible packaging and keep low sugar products ready to launch if regulation or consumer preference change. An active research and development pipeline allow the company to test new ideas and adapt quickly to market shifts. From an operation point of view, automation should be adopted in states supported by data and analytics. Financially, SIP Bus should maintain healthy cash buffer, lead staffing, and flexible marketing spending. Overall, the goal is not to predict every wildcard, but to reduce the disruption by staying flexible, diversified, innovative, and financially disciplined. Let's explain the strategy direction for SIP Bus. While SIP Bus has achieved steady revenue growth, its profitability has been unstable. This is mainly due to spike raw material costs, increasing human resource, and marketing expenses. This issue suggests that the company lacks clear demand visibility, pricing accuracy, and direct consumer insight. Scenario analysis show that companies that invest early in digital capability and analytics tend to be more resilient and more profitable. In contrast, companies that delay digital adoption often struggle with higher costs and slower innovation. Based on this, the key recommendation is for SIP Bus to build a fully integrated digital commerce ecosystem. This is more than just an online store. It should connect data and analytics with supply chains, operations, marketing, pricing, and product development. The digital foundation should include a mobile-friendly direct-to-consumer website, partnership with major regional marketplaces, and subscription options to encourage repeat purchases. All customer product and order data should be centralized in the cloud by focusing on low sugar and functional products as well as bundle offer. SIP Bus can increase average order value and use direct consumer data to improve forecasting and reduce stock count. Now we talk about how the strategy can be executed and managed. First, SIP Bus should use predictive analytics to support planning. This includes forecasting demand by product and channel, aligning production with full seasonality, and setting inventory buffer based on risk. Early warning alert can help identify supplier delay, weather risk, and lead times changes. Promotion should also be optimized to avoid excessive discounting that does not create long-term demand. Second, SIP Bus should adopt a performance-based digital marketing approach. Using first-party data, the company can continuously test and learn across different customer segments. Marketing should focus on conversion, retargeting, subscription, and bundles. Key metrics such as customer acquisition cost, repeat purchase rate, and return on ad spend help the marketing costs keep lower. Third, supply risk management and product innovation should be closely integrated. Digital demand data can support dual sourcing and more flexible supplier contracts. Packaging should be modular and regulation ready. Product innovation should follow a small, focused pipeline, testing low sugar and functional products through direct to consumer channel before scaling successful ideas. To ensure strong governance, SIPs first should form a cross-functional digital commerce team with shared performance metrics such as online revenue share, profit per order, fulfillment reliability, inventory efficiency, and cash flow health. Monthly reviews should use early warning signals to support fast decision making. Finally, the rollout should be spaced to manage risk and cash flow. Phase 1 focus on building the storefront and testing analytics and marketing. Phase 2 scales the subscription, automation, and new products. Phase 3 expands regionally and across borders. So in summary, this digital commerce becomes a profit engine rather than just another sales channel. This keeps SIP Bus flexible and responsive, which is exactly the goal of scenario planning.
To conclude, Simbers is facing growing external pressures such as stricter regulation, rising labor costs, and higher raw material prices. These challenges are largely outside the company's control, yet they continue to increase operating costs. At the same time, the analysis shows that the greatest opportunities depends internally. Simbers need to modernize its operations by digitalizing manual processes such as strengthening its digital foundation and improving cost discipline, particularly in human resource spending. The financial data clearly show that Simbas has a strong potential and healthy cash reserve. However, growth depends on how wisely the company allocates its resources. Past performance proves that the targeted investment drive profitability while inefficient spending quickly erodes it. Looking forward, Simba's success will continue to be defined by short-term growth alone, but by its ability to remain flexible, adapt to the early market changes, and act proactively rather than reactively. By embracing the digital transformation and strengthening strategy, decision making, Simbas can turn uncertainty into end market and secure the long term competitive advantage. In short, the companies that prepare early will lead the market, and Simbas has the resources to exactly that. Thank you.